Welcome to CineMyles, the show for cinephiles. I'm your host, Miles Hughes. I'm joined once again by Mrs. Blythe Reed, and we just saw Wonder Woman, which tells the awesome true story of how an Amazonian goddess ended World War I by punching the god of war really hard in the face. You remember that from history? That's the thing that happened.
See, I went to a public school, so we had old textbooks.
So they didn't include that part?
No.
Fair enough. It is actually based on the iconic comic book character of Wonder Woman, who has taken a ridiculously long time to finally get her own movie.
Yeah.
She didn't even get to debut in her own movie. She had to debut as like a side nugget in Dawn of Justice, which most people say is the highlight of the film. I mean, she was in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I go as far as highlight. Here, she really gets a chance to shine and to really stand out. Mm-hmm. And yes, you heard it here first. I'm looking at you, DeAndre. This is the first good movie in the DC Cinematic Universe.
Woo!
And I would go as far as to say the best movie featuring DC characters since The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
This feels in line with what we expect from an entertaining superhero film. Mm-hmm. There's actual humanity to it. There's really good humor. The action's really exciting. There's really nice stakes. You care about the characters.
If you don't care about the characters, why are you going to sit through 2.5 hours if you don't care about anybody? So
exactly.
Yeah, they did that very well.
Gal Gadot, I was kind of skeptical when she was first announced as Wonder Woman. I think a lot of people were.
I think it's Gadot, because she's not French. She's Israeli.
Oh,
I think it's Gadot.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We don't know. Oh no, now you're... Take two. Gal Gadot wasn't necessarily, I think, anyone's first choice for Wonder Woman, mainly because most people know her as Giselle from the Fast and Furious movies. Mm-hmm. But I think she really comes into her own in this movie. She gives a really nice star-making performance.
Yes.
But not in any, like, showy, attention-grabbing kind of way. She just really lets Diana breathe and feel like a real person. Mm-hmm. I love the way that she experiences things for the first time. Like, there's the scene where she has ice cream, and she's passionately in love with the ice cream.
Yeah.
Or, like, when she discovers her first snowfall. Little details like that, where you can really see, like, her eyes light up, and she's discovering something brand new, and you feel excited for her.
Yeah, and she doesn't punch it up. I'm sure Patty Jenkins directed her not to. Really seeing something for the first time and not indicating that she's, here's another discovery joke of somebody who's not from here. It wasn't too overdone.
One of the highlights of the film is Chris Pine.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, because he's basically playing the comic relief / damsel in distress type character. Yeah. He fulfills the love interest role that so many women have had to play, and he does it very gamely. He's hysterical. And I gotta say, this might be one of the very few superhero movies where I felt genuinely invested in the love story.
Absolutely. I did too. I normally think it's, they have to give us, they have to give us that element, but it felt like it happened very organically in the story. It didn't feel like a thunderclap or lightning bolt for either one of them. It felt like really seeing another human being and appreciating something about them that maybe you recognize in yourself.
Those two are the standouts. They're probably the only actors to leave much of an impression. Robin Wright is awesome for like 10 minutes.
And she's my favorite. I love her, and yeah, that was a kick in the balls.
Yeah, early on too.
Yeah.
She's the Stanley Tucci role, so figure out what that means for yourself. Connie Nielsen was kind of weak, I thought, as the mom, whose entire character dynamic is, maybe the horrible thing won't happen, so why don't we just hide in our bunker and hope for the best?
Mm-hmm. And hiding the truth from the person who needs to know it most of all. I hate that.
Well, and when you find out what the truth is, it isn't even the kind of thing that makes sense to have hidden. Like, if she's gonna go out there, that's a good thing to know. The villains are pretty weak. One of these days, Danny Huston might get to star in a superhero film where he plays a memorable villain, but it's kind of up there with his work in X-Men Origins Wolverine. He's in it, and he snarls, and then he's not in it anymore. Yeah.
It really, I think more than anything, was a showcase for her and for how strong she really is, because she doesn't even know up until that point. And I really liked that what gave her the strength to fight and where she really came into her own, as she came from a place of love and not a place of anger. I like that it wasn't, revenge for someone close to her, it was, you know, in honor of the spirit of somebody who was close to her. You know?
Yeah.
And learning from that character and moving forward with what they taught her.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I really appreciated the way they sort of avoided a lot of the more typical origin story beats. Like, you're sort of discovering what she's capable of at the same time she is, and not even in a Spider-Man kind of way where it's like, okay, now I suddenly have these powers. It's more like she's never been told the full extent of what she can do, so when she tries to sort of get out in the world and sort of push herself, we get to experience these moments of discovery with her. Like, I love the bit where she's climbing on the wall and she can realize that she can actually really dig in there.
That was so cool. It was just badass. Like, all of the Amazonian women training and fighting one another, the scenes with her and Robin Wright training her to fight were amazing. Like, they were exhilarating and really fun to watch. I don't know how I feel about that world building in the very beginning.
Yeah, I would honestly say the first 15 to 20 minutes are actually pretty weak. I mean, there's a stupid, you know, framing device where you gotta throw in a little tie-in to Batman and to the rest of the Justice League and whatever.
Yeah.
But then even the early stuff on Themyscira...
it sounds like they're saying the mascara, and I'm like, if this is supposed to be
the mascara.
If this is supposed to be like feminist or like look at the strong women, like maybe don't name something that sounds like a makeup product.
Like, it was kind of cool to see the Amazons in action because then it sets up what she's eventually able to do. But all that early stuff where she's a kid, I was just kind of like, it was clunky, to be honest.
Well, and they made a kid do a dialect that doesn't actually exist in the world. They all had to do a dialect that's not really, it's like a combination of what, they know every single language on the planet?
Oh,
so is it a
for some reason.
Yeah, and
Which they don't really use at all. Like, she has the one exchange with the guy who knows a bunch of languages, but besides that, she speaks English the whole movie, so what's the point of that?
And interesting, too, it's the first, you know, female superhero that we have that has her own movie. And, you know, there were jokes about, you know, the world of men and mankind, but on the whole, there wasn't any male bashing in order to make the female strong.
Right, no, the females could just stand up on their own strength. They didn't need to step on the men. They could work with the men.
Exactly.
It didn't feel like last year, the Ghostbusters movie kind of felt like a very self-conscious, like, oh, here's all the way that men are wrong, and here's all the way that women are oppressed, and, you know, girl power. And this one did it without, like, feeling like it was cramming any kind of agenda or message down your throat. It was a piece of entertainment, first and foremost, that just put a really strong, powerful female character front and center, and let that speak for itself.
Yeah, I would recommend this film to everyone. Especially if you have been brokenhearted by DC in the past. Hopefully they can redeem themselves somewhat with this.
In a lot of ways, I feel like they should have started here. Like, wouldn't it be great if we started with Wonder Woman and worked our way up to Batman and Superman, rather than just, oh, here's everyone all at once. I would absolutely recommend this movie. It's a blast. Maybe a hair away from being great, but it is incredibly good, incredibly entertaining, and definitely worth your time. So that's going to do it for us from CineMyles. Be sure to check out Wonder Woman, and also be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all those fun things. Thank you for joining me, Blythe.
Thank you for having me.
And we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good night.